Got my notes. Wow. Let's go. Let's talk about choices. We make millions of choices throughout our whole lifetime. That's a lot, I know, but we're gonna just back it down to the choices we make in a day. We choose when we wake up and when we go to bed. We choose what we wear, our fit for the day. We choose what we eat and what we watch, what we don't watch, who we talk to, who we don't talk to. Behind those choices, we have reasons for them. The reason why we wake up at the time we do, maybe because we don't have work or because we do have work. The reason why we go to bed at the time that we do, maybe because we can't sleep or because you have to get up early for work. We choose our fit depending upon our mood of the day. Do you want to feel a little bit more relaxed? Do you want to feel a little bit more professional or stylish? You have different fits and different moods for that. When we're choosing what we want to eat, is it based on a healthy option, a craving option? But those are reasons behind why we do those things. These are conscious choices that we make throughout our whole day. From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, we have a myriad of choices that we have to make. And those are conscious choices that we make that are in our control to make. And in addition to conscious choices, we also have unconscious choices that we make without knowing, whether it be in the thoughts that we have or the words that we say or just our basic actions throughout the day with different interactions that we may have. Those stem from reasons too, but they can stem from reasons that we may not know of because they're subconscious choices. So, story time. A few years ago, I was working as a waitress at TGI Fridays, and at that time I was waitressing 30 hours a week between Monday through Sunday. I had a co-op that I was working 30 hours a week Monday through Friday, and then I went to college full-time Monday through Thursday. I had like a full plate of classes. And also at that time, it was like around junior year of college, and I had my own car, and I recently got an apartment, so I was paying for a car, for insurance on that car, for an apartment, for anything that I needed for school, for basic living amenities, just basic living and food, all that stuff, just paying for it, you know, by myself, like an independent woman. And there was one time during a night shift where we were checking out at the end of the day. As a waitress, you have to check out to see how much money you get to take home, how much money you owe the restaurant. And I was counting it, and it just wasn't right. I was like, this isn't enough. Like at that time, I was like really just going through it financially for some reason. I just couldn't keep up with all the bills at this time. And with the stress of school and the stress of life in general, it really just hit me that I'm out of control. Like I feel out of control. So I started crying right there in the office where I was doing my checkout, crying about how much money I didn't make and how everything just went so wrong so fast. And I'm like, I can't do this. And my friend at the time that I was venting to, they looked at me and was like, well, you do realize you did everything wrong, right? You got a new car and you got an apartment and all this, and you just started naming things that I did wrong. And right then and there, I stopped crying. I was like, what? I was like, I did what wrong? I was in my head, I was like, I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I made the choices that I made, and it just came to this where, you know, things just happened to not work in my favor. So I stopped crying, and then that week I decided to pick up more shifts and to grind and get more tables and make more money, and I was fine. But I was just like, ain't no one gonna tell me that I did anything wrong. Ain't nobody gonna tell me that I did this wrong. Like I made the choice that I make. I'm not wrong. I'm not a failure. But all this, like, I was just in my bag about it. Like I was just like, I was just in my bag about it, and I was like, no one's gonna tell me that I did anything wrong. I'm gonna get this money, and ain't no one's gonna tell me I did anything wrong. I'm gonna get this money, and no one's gonna tell me shit. And I was just in that moment, I could have made the choice to sit in pity and victimhood and just wallow in my wrong choices that I made. Like, yeah, you know, right, you're right, I'm wrong. Like I should never done any of this. I should never did this and did that. I should have done this better, and just really just let myself have it and feel so much shame and pity with myself. But in that moment, I chose to not do that. I chose to you know, pick up more shifts and to get more tables and to figure out a way around the outcome that came from the choices I made prior. However, looking back on that event, those actions and those thoughts stemmed from a place of pride, because I was falling apart. I just had so much on my plate that I put there myself that I couldn't handle. At the very point where I broke and I let somebody see that, and that person told me I was wrong with all my choices, that led to this. And I was like, ain't nobody fucking telling me that I'm wrong. Ain't nobody telling me that my choices were bad. Ain't nobody telling me that I'm a failure or I did anything wrong. I don't do things wrong. I succeed no matter what. Like, this all were the thoughts that I had that came up after breakdown. Yes, the choices that I made, though rooted in pride, were beneficial to what I wanted to do, which was get on top of my bills and not be behind and, you know, just be financially stable. Although that was beneficial, where it stemmed from was a pride thing. And looking back again, that kind of mentality just spread throughout all of my actions of why I do what I do. I'm realizing now that I was a very, and still to some point, a prideful person. I never wanted anyone to see me fail or see me falter. Even if I was drowning, I would be coughing up water like, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's great. It's fine. Like, don't look at me. I'm doing great. It's like trying to carry all the bags from all the grocery bags from the car to the home without struggling, but you're literally on your knees trying to get to the door and you just don't have the strength to get there, but you will refuse to make another trip because you got this. So I never wanted to look wrong or like a failure or like I'm doing too much. So even when I put too much on my plate and just couldn't eat it all, I still made it seem like I was strong enough to do this, that I was capable of doing all this on my own. And that turned me into being the strong person that people knew, and how I'm always getting through things without like faltering. And to some people, they saw me at my emotional state, but for other people, they saw me as just a strong person who did so much and accomplished so much. But I'm like, at what cost? At endless breakdowns and anxiety attacks, at just so much self-doubt that happened behind the scenes, that I just couldn't let anyone see that, because I'm like, if they see that, they'll look at me different. And I don't want that. I don't want anyone to look at me as if I am a weak person. I'm not a weak person. And having that mindset pretty much made me a weak person. All that just led to me being burnt out and tired and just sad. And I'm like running a rat race at my own demise, because who was I doing this for? For other people? For not like why was I making these choices to burn myself out and to not speak up about my shortcomings, not speak up about me being, you know, wrong in some cases. Choices were just rooted in just, like I said, pride, and it didn't do me any good at all. And looking at that pattern, it showed throughout my whole life of things that I took on. Mind you, I'm still a very successful person. In my mind, I am the strongest person that I may know. Like, in my head, I've accomplished so much. And I would still accomplish those things, but I probably would do it in a different way. But what I'm trying to say is, at what cost? At what cost did I have to do that? And there is probably an easier way for me to accomplish those things without being burnt out. But I mean, it is what it is. You can't change the past, right? But me understanding that now helps me make choices for a better future. Without me looking back, I wouldn't know that all the choices that I made were stemming from a place of pride and of not wanting to be a failure. Take that example and just spread it across how we act or interact and what we say. Also what we think, our thoughts. We have 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and they are not all unique. Some of them are recycled thoughts that we think over and over and over again throughout the day. So if in my head I'm thinking, you're not a failure, you can't be a failure, my action will stem from not failing. So what can I do to not fail? And if it just happens to be me overworking, then that's it, and that's what it was, but that's not me anymore. If we're not aware of the reason why we make the choices we make, we are on an autopiloted life that makes us feel like we're not in control. And stepping back and trying to figure out where your choices, your thoughts, and what you say stem from, you're able to put the control back into your hands. We control our lives. And for things that we cannot control, like genuinely cannot control, we have to learn to let go. But that is a different video all within itself. Our lives are in our control. What we choose to do every day are in our control. How we choose to react to others. How we choose to act in general. What we choose to say to others, whether it be hurtful or uplifting, is important. That's in our control. And our thoughts, once mastered, are also in our control. And I think that's fucking beautiful. It gives you a chance to really live a life that you are in control of, that you know deeply that you are in control of. And that's fucking beautiful.